How's everything going today, guys? My name is Copycat, and welcome to a very spook-filled video, where we're gonna look at the top 15 scariest Nintendo bosses of all time. After making my latest video about the top 15 scariest Nintendo enemies, I knew I had to make one more Halloween-themed one. This time, focusing specifically on bosses, which after doing extensive research are way creepier than I previously thought. I really did spend a lot of my time trying my hardest to rank all of these in the correct order, but if you disagree with the list or think I left one out, then please let me know in the comments below. Oh yeah, before I get started, I hope you guys subscribe to my channel and hit that bell button to stay notified when I upload new videos. To start this video off, we're gonna look at the Baby Bowser boss battle in Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. But not while he's in his regular form, but when he's in his much more intimidating Kaiju transformation. This version of Bowser is absolutely terrifying, as Kamek uses his magic to cause him to grow to an incredibly large size, rejuvenating Bowser as you had just defeated him in his normal form. The fight itself is very scary, as he starts off way in the distance and over time slowly moves closer and closer, where the only way to hold him back and defeat him is by hitting him with giant eggs. From time to time, he will also shoot fireballs at you, which just adds another terrifying factor to this already intimidating boss battle. In a virtual tie, I also have to include Fury Bowser from Bowser's Fury, as it's another Kaiju-sized King Koopa that's equally as intimidating as its counterpart. This boss is Bowser covered in black goop, causing his skin to become very dark in color and his eyes to become glowing yellow. When you first play this game mode, facing off against this foe is extremely daunting, but once you learn you can just grab a cat shine or grow big to Giga Cat Mario, then things become much easier and his appearances are less scary. Coming in at number 14 in this video is the incredibly unsettling Volcane boss that's found on the lava planet called Solar in the Star Fox 64 entry. The backstory of how this creature was made is equally creepy, as the mad scientist Andross combined organic and mechanical material to create something that can change its genetic structure to survive in any situation, including lava. The Volcane itself looks like a giant praying mantis, as it has two scythe-like arms, mandibles on its mouth, and very beady bug-like eyes, while also possessing the ability to spit rocks towards your team. This was a completely unexpected boss, and when he pops out of the lava, it definitely leaves you with a dreadful feeling. If you guys have ever played the incredibly wacky Wario World GameCube title, then you're probably aware of the strange enemies and bosses from this game, including the creepiest one of them all, the Winter Winster. This crazy looking creature has an enormous head with a really tiny body, and can randomly float around the stage, avoiding your attacks. The Winster itself has 3 moves that it will use against you, including its freezing breath, sending pulsating shockwaves at you, and the scariest is its final evil eye attack, where they start to glow a demonic color, and if Wario looks into them, then he will get caught up in his energy and may even get blown off the stage. At number 11 in this video, we're going to look at the Mother Brain's true form that appears in Super Metroid for the SNES. This final boss battle of the game starts off with the Metroid in its normal brain-like form, and when the structure around it is destroyed in its usual way, it slumps on the ground, making it seem like the fight is already over. However, this is not the case, as the Mother Brain takes its true form, looking like a grotesque undead creature that can shoot lasers and shockwaves towards Samus. The only way to defeat it is to shoot it directly in the head enough times where it will eventually implode and you can win the fight. One of my favorite bosses that you'll see in this video is Andross, who's Fox McCloud's arch nemesis and shows up as the final boss during pretty much every game in the series. This mad scientist uses a combination of robotic space droids and his actual giant floating head and hands as his weapons, which is intimidating due to his sheer size. It's really hard to say which one of his versions is the scariest, but the one from Star Fox Adventures really creeped me out, as his features look more like a deranged ape and his eyes look exactly like Sauron's from The Lord of the Rings, giving him a very evil feel. Although both the Crazy and Master Hands appear as solo bosses many times in the Super Smash Bros. Franchise, and are very grueling foes to face, it's their combined effort against you in the newest Ultimate installment that's by far the scariest. If you get to the end of Classic Mode and are playing on an intensity level 7 or higher, then Crazy Hand will join his Master Hand companion, making the battle much tougher and way more stressful. These enemies have always made me feel uncomfortable, especially as the Crazy Hand acts very erratically, which is just unsettling to look at. At the number 8 spot of this video is the scary Water Wraith sub-boss in Pikmin 2, found in the Submerged Castle and Bully Den Cave levels. His appearance is a bit confusing, as he looks like an interdimensional being that uses 2 giant rock rollers that can instantly kill Pikmin if they get run over. To make things even scarier, the level is usually dimly lit, so you won't really be able to see if you're near this foe until it's too late. I think Olimar's notes sum things up nicely with him writing, "One theory may hold that it may be the ectoplasmic incarnation of a kind of physical phenomenon, but as is usually the case with such theories, it is very difficult to prove. All witnesses report being suddenly overcome with fear upon sighting the creature, approaching a state of panic and near insanity. In fact, every report contains an inordinate amount of extremely vague details, which has led to suspicions that exhaustion and fear have caused some simple natural phenomenon to be viewed as a living creature." One boss that was definitely making this video in one way or another is King Boo, who is the ultimate, scariest form of the ghost-like enemy, being the main antagonist in basically every Luigi's Mansion game. Just knowing that this is one of the only bad guys to defeat and imprison Mario is pretty much all you need to know about how fearsome this boss is. And he has many strong attacks that can easily damage you. These include a few magical ones, which is something a Boo isn't usually able to do, making him way more powerful than most Mushroom Kingdom inhabitants. Coming in at number 6 is a boss I actually had never heard about before, but immediately found very disturbing in the Demon Head from the Wario Land Virtual Boy title. This final boss straight up looks like something that came straight from hell, appearing to want to possess Wario's soul. Similar to Andross, it also uses 2 claw-like hands as its main weapons, while also being able to spit fire towards you. I'm surprised how much this character design freaks me out, as I've always viewed the Virtual Boy as a system with not much to offer other than headaches. But boy, was I wrong. I had such a hard time deciding which Kirby bosses to even include in any spot of this video, so instead, I decided to go over a few of them in the number 5 spot, as they truly are some of the most spine-chilling things that you'll see in the Nintendo franchise. One of these is the Marks, who at first appears as an innocent-looking jester-like friend who advises you to gather the power of the stars and use it to summon a comet that can grant wishes. However, when you finally complete this task, Marks knocks Kirby aside, and instead makes his own selfish wish to completely control Planet Popstar. This causes him to transform into a true monster, gaining new abilities and proving himself to be a very menacing foe. Another boss I need to mention is the Dark Matter, who appears many times throughout the series, which is an entity that sometimes takes humanoid form, but usually appears as a giant floating demonic eye. This boss can easily attack you in many ways, using its Dark Matter energy, and can easily change form at will depending on the situation. Nightmare is another boss I need to mention, which is a powerful entity that's motivated by pure malice, making him one of the most evil foes in the Kirby universe. His appearance can change from a magical orb with stars on it, to an ethereal warlock who can float around and use crazy magic attacks to damage you. The final boss I want to mention from this franchise is the Void Termina, who starts off as a monstrous golem-like creature, but once its head pops off, it's revealed that it has a core where the real evil is originating from. After a few cycles of entering and exiting this beast, and fighting its very intimidating flying version, you get to the final fight against the core, resulting in what is one of the craziest battles. At the very end, it turns into a classic Kirby one-eyed boss, really trying anything it can to defeat you and your friends. As a kid, one game that absolutely terrified me was The Legend of Zelda: Majora's Mask, as it contained the very scary premise of Link accidentally going into a parallel dimension called Termina, where the Skull Kid wants to send the moon hurtling towards the Earth. The most terrifying boss battle in this game is of course the one against the Majora's Mask, as it goes through 3 different transformations during the fight that as a young kid playing this on the N64 scared me to death. Its first form is as a floating mass with creepy looking tentacles billowing from its back, and from time to time it tries to lay flat and spin viciously towards you to damage you. Once you damage it a bit, it will grow legs, arms, and a horrifying looking eye, while now being able to sprint erratically around the room, trying to catch you off guard. It's really its final form for why it makes the number 4 spot in this video, as a demonic head begins to grow on top of the mask, and grotesque looking whips spawn from its arms, and uses them to attack you at top speeds, which really keeps you on your toes. Taking the number 3 spot in this video is the SAX, which is the main bad guy of the Game Boy Advance Metroid Fusion entry, appearing at first as an evil clone of Samus, antagonizing her throughout several points of the game. However, this boss doesn't show its true self until you defeat its clone form, revealing a mutated monster that seems to have no objective other than wanting to devour you. During the final battle against it, it seems to have grown even larger and more grotesque, and even though it doesn't put up much of a fight, it's just a very scary sight to see its true self. This creature then turns into a Core X and flees the battle, oddly returning and saving Samus, as it must have seen the Omega Metroid as the true threat. The boss that always gave me shivers during my playthroughs of The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time is the Dead Hand, which is an undead creature that shows up at the bottom of the well and in the game's Shadow Temple. This boss sprouts several limbs from the ground that try to hold Link down while its body squirms towards you to deliver a devastating bite. Just the face on this creature is probably the most nightmare-fueled thing that you'll see in this video, and really hammers home the fact that Zelda titles don't shy away from including absolutely horror-filled moments. Before we get to our number 1 pick, here are some honorable mentions. Taking the number 1 spot in this video is the ultimate antagonist from the Fire Emblem franchise, Grima, who was created by a mad alchemist named Fornius in an attempt to make the perfect life form. Of course, if you haven't guessed, things go horribly wrong, and it would grow into a beast of gargantuan size and power, getting to the point where Fornius could no longer control it. Its final form resembles a dragon with a very insect-like head, but it does really transcend physicality, and is more spiritual in nature, using its power to transfer bodies and minds. This monstrosity also controls an undead army called the Risen, literally named corpse soldiers in Japanese, using them to do his bidding, including sending them through time to change the past and prevent alternate futures. This makes this boss even scarier, as theoretically it's almost impossible to defeat as it can stay one step ahead of you. Alright, that's going to be it for today's video, guys. I really hope you did enjoy this one. If you did, please leave a like, comment below what you thought about it, and of course subscribe to my channel. Also, I do have an Instagram at Copycat Gamer, so go give that a follow. There I upload items from my collection, and cool clips that you won't see anywhere else. Hope you guys all have a good day, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!